Let me preface this video by stating the obvious. I absolutely adore Mori, so I've grailed the Mad Lad to level 100. Naturally, this means he'll be dealing a lot more damage than he normally would, so please keep that in mind while watching. Now, with that said, Mori Nagayoshi is a 3-star berserker who excels at hitting really hard, at the cost of absolutely everything else. His whole kit is unwieldy, self-destructive, and even downright self-contradictory at times, and I absolutely love it. Mori is honestly not very good, but he's just so much fun to use that I don't care. His first skill, Mental Corruption Wicked, increases his critical strength by a whopping 100% for 3 whole turns, while also increasing his debuff resistance for 3 turns. However, it also reduces his buff success rate for 3 turns, which means you can't actually buff him once you've used this. The only exception to this rule that I can find is that he is still able to be buffed by the Mystic Codes from your main character. Honestly, I think that's kinda adorable in a weird way. Mori's mind is so messed up that he can't listen to his allies, or even to himself, but he'll still listen to you. That's super cute. This skill has a cooldown of 6 turns, though you probably won't get to use it more than once. His second skill, Blood-Soaked Brood, is also very interesting. It applies a special state to Mori, where his next 3 attacks will buff his attack further, but lower his defense every time he hits an opponent, with each buff lasting 3 turns. This can stack up to a max of 3 times, and when maxed out, he'll reach plus 45% attack and minus 30% defense. This skill has a cooldown of 5 turns, though again, you probably won't get to use it more than once. His third and final skill is Onimusashi's Will and Testament. It increases Mori's critical star gather rate for 1 turn, and makes it so that if Mori dies within the next 3 turns, your party will gain 20 critical stars. This is mostly just useful to make sure he can actually crit, since a berserker normally isn't able to. Likewise, getting some stars when he dies, and he will die, is pretty nice. The cooldown is, once again, 5 turns, and just like before, you probably won't get to use it more than once. That's kind of the point of an Undeath Activate skill. When using Mori, you generally want to use Blood-Soaked Brood first to increase his attack, then Onimusashi's Will and Testament to draw stars to him, and then finally Mental Corruption Wicked to let him crit harder. Mori's noble Phantasm is Ningen Mukutsu, and it's absolutely incredible. It's a single target Buster NP that gives him Ignore Invincibility for 1 turn, and then also ignores defense on top of that. It also inflicts a minor defense down debuff after dealing damage as the overcharge effect. This NP is almost impossible to resist, but I do have to point something out. If you've used the Mental Corruption Wicked already, then the buff success rate debuff means that you won't actually be able to proc the Ignore Invincibility part of the NP. Essentially, you have to choose between having Ignore Invincibility or stronger crits. Mori is a purely offensive damage dealer, but he needs a ton of support to really shine. Characters like Hans and Merlin are both perfect for him, as they can both help keep him alive while also giving him critical stars. He also benefits greatly from having a dedicated tank on your team, such as Georgios or Leonidas, who can help take aggro off him. Characters like Asclepius and Irisveal are also worth considering for their guts effects. Just make sure to always keep in mind that his first skill can and will lock him out of their buffs. You can also use him for pluck suit stuff by giving him a CE that gives stars when he enters the field, and then having him in the back row. That way, you can put him on the field whenever you know he's going to get cards, and immediately have him crit really hard. When it comes to craft distances, I don't think I'm gonna be surprising anyone when I say that he primarily wants damage buffs. Stuff like Limited Zero Over and Joint Recital are both perfect for him. He also really appreciates having some starting NP gauge, so something like Kaleidoscope or Aerial Drive are both really good choices for him. If you want immediate crits, then you can also use something like Golden Carb to help set them up. And for command codes, again, just focus on damage. Mori's only purpose on a team is to hit really hard, so just focus on that. Just slap some bursts on him and call it a day, he's pretty straightforward. To round things off, Mori is really weird and restrictive to use, and he will frequently get himself killed. I wouldn't recommend investing in him unless you're fine with that and you really like him. If you do invest in him, however, you'll find that he can really bring the pain. And, well, just look at him. He's adorable. How can you say no?
お、いたいた、マスター。ちょこら茶の支度したからよ。これから一服どうだ？俺の秘蔵の茶碗見せてやるからよ。行こうぜ行こうぜ。